So welcome again. So excited that you are here with us tonight. First of all, I just need a little commitment that we're going to stay until the end. Raise your hand if you're committed to staying until the end. I say to students all the time, the lesson is being in the room, right? So here's how we're going to do this. We're going to have a panel discussion, and then we are going to ask you, as the students, to ask questions. Now, in the back, there's a little box, beautiful little box in the back. If you're like, listen, I do have a question, but I don't want all these people seeing me ask this question. You get to write the question on a card, put it in the box. Here's why this is important. How many of you know you're not in this room at this time by accident? Raise your hand. If you believe you are here on purpose, right? So if you have a question that you don't want to ask in front of everybody, what I'm going to ask you to do is put it on a card, put it in the box.
But I want you guys to understand how special it is, and I love what you said, that there's no mistake you guys in this room, right? So a lot of you guys are going to be the therapists, the social workers, the psychologists, the psychiatrists, the medical doctors. You guys, your destiny, you probably have no idea. I never thought when I was out and Cameo was practicing at the building next door to us, and I was acting food out in that little building, that I was sitting here today talking to you guys about mental health. That guy taking those pictures, he took pictures when I played football, and that was some years ago. And so I want you guys to understand how special it is for you to be in this energy, right? Now, the most important thing that I want you to get out of this is that you guys are at the forefront of us changing the stigma around mental health. You guys control the media, you control social network, you know a lot of things that we have no idea about at my generation, right? So you guys will be pushing things forward that we had no idea that we would be able to reach people in these different sections. Now, every one of us can think of how mental illness has affected a friend, family member, loved one. One thing we found out through research is that trauma is passed through our DNA. So if you think about it, our ancestors, think about how many generations it took for you to be right here, for us to be sitting here, and how much trauma they experienced. Mothers in the bottom of ships being slaves, being whipped, watching men castrated. All those various things that happen to us, we've internalized those things. But there's a great book out called The Body Never Forgets, right? And so we as a generation, as a people, we've learned how to self-medicate ourselves. Religion is a big part of it. Alcohol, drugs, sex, all the things that make us feel good, food, which I love, all those things are things that help us to mask some of the mental health illnesses that are going on. Now, I don't want you guys to think that you have to go to an extreme to have some type of mental health need. It could simply be, I'm just not eating correctly, right? Because what you put in your body affects your mental health. By a show of hands, how many people can tell me what's the number one drug that affects us as humans? Sugar. Some of you think crack, some of you think all of it. Sugar is the number one drug. And you think about it when you see a little kid and they eat a lot of sugar, what happens? What happens to you when you drink a lot of sugar, caffeinated, you sit in class, and all of a sudden you get that? And then when you get older, your pancreas says, I can't take enough. I can't take it anymore. Diabetes. Ozempic, look at the biggest drug out there now. Everybody wants to lose weight, but it's designed to keep you alive because we are inundated with sugar, or ways that we keep ourselves in touch with the world, in touch. So I can stay on my job, so I can deal with my family, so I can deal with my wife, my husband. But we've got to understand that communication And there are some healthy ways of dealing with things. And we're going to talk about some of those tomorrow. But I don't want to take a lot of time on that question. But I just want you guys to understand how important it is for you to take something from this. We're planting seeds for you guys, just like someone did for me. And this is a great place to learn and to be free, right? We're free now, except for our phones. And so we have to look at how we're traumatized by even looking at some of the things on our phone. This movie generated some energy in this room, whether you know it. We're energy beings, and there's something called mirror neurons that we share. We're sharing them now, right? And so when you understand that, and there's a lot of research behind this, and for all you guys that are going into medical school and understanding all these things, they're going to talk about this. And this is new cutting edge stuff that they're talking about, how we're sharing these mirror neurons. And you can look at something on your phone, and it will change your entire mood. Someone can send you a text and say, you lame, you cat. I like your boyfriend. I saw your boyfriend or girlfriend or both of them with somebody else. And it changed your whole mood. Your day was going great. So we have to learn how to clock out sometimes too. And so we're going to talk about all those things, but I just want you guys to understand how important it is for us to just take the cover off of this conversation. Thank you so much for bringing this to light. And in fact, the last thing I'm going to say is the reason I basically came to college was on a football scholarship. But first of all, I wanted to understand why my grandfather died at 53 from cirrhosis of the liver. You guys know what that is? It's when you drink so much alcohol, your liver cannot take it. You was a World War II vet where they gave you as much as you could drink, and that was just socially accepted, especially where I'm from Macon, Georgia, the heart of Georgia. And so it was just accepted that alcohol was a part of what you did. Even when I was growing up, they would give you a drink, it just keeps the worms out. Some of the country folks in here know what I'm talking about, right? And so we have to understand how that's not necessarily good for us. Thank you so much.
So, often we take for granted the power of being able to feel. Say that again. The power of being able to feel, and the power of being able to feel good without a false solution trying to meet a real need. Say it again. The power of being able to feel and to feel good without a false solution, sex, food, social media, recreational drugs, right? To meet a real need, which is pain, trauma, disappointment, betrayal. Raise your hand if you can identify. Disappointment, betrayal, folks not showing up the way they're supposed to, folks not doing what they're supposed to, folks not meeting the expectations of the roles that they have in their life. As college students, how do you know if what you're doing not that big of a deal, or if what you're doing is trying to self-medicate so that you can show up every day? How do you balance and know the continuum of that? And I'll take that.
And that's deep, so I'm gonna let the real thing take.
No. So what she's talking about is, it's a life journey, right? You guys are at the age where your frontal cortex, that's the part of your brain that makes decisions, is developing. For women, it develops a little earlier. Men in the room, it takes us a little bit longer. So I don't want to say we never get there, but it takes us a little longer. But my theory is, ladies have the baby, so they need that common sense. They need something to do that. We're out here trying to defend the family. We're defending our communities. And so one thing that she just said that kind of hit me is that a lot of times you have to experience life before you understand some things clearly. And what's dangerous these days is that your guys, a lot of you live your life for millions and millions of people to see. You know, I've watched some of the young people I work with. And so Covenant House, just for you who don't know, we service 18 to 24-year-old unhoused young adults who they could be in college and lost their housing money. They could be part of a sex trafficking ring. They could be part of the LGBTQ community and their family have just kicked them out. They could have came here for a concert or a party or something, smoked a blunt that was laced with fentanyl or fake Xanax, and end up in a hotel somewhere and they call us, the GBI will bring them to us. And so when you see all of those things, and then a lot of these young people are afraid to tell their family because a lot of them are being held hostage just by social media. They say, well, we'll expose this. We'll put this, you know, I have a blue check, so I'll put this out to my post. And next thing you know, you're embarrassed, right? And you don't want your family to know that. That wasn't there when I was in school, right? So there's a lot of pressure on you guys. And so what I want to encourage you to do is to build a safe community. And I want this to be a safe space too, right? It's important for us to do that. For us to be able to talk to each other and to love and have empathy, not sympathy. There's a difference between those two. Have empathy for someone. Instead of when you see someone down and out or doing something that you think might be a little bit off the wall, don't take your phone out and videotape it and then post it.
Or could you say it again?
Man, that's just, you know, instead of you know, helping that person or calming them down, we egg it on and we put that video on and we want to see how many posts we can get. And really, all you're doing is just manifesting the behaviors in our community that's destroying us, destroying you guys, right? Because right now, believe it or not, I feel there's more positive things happening with you guys than there are negative things, but that's all we see, right? You guys are in college, man. You know how blessed you are. You know how many people wish they could be here in your place? Didn't have the opportunity, will never get the opportunity. And so you got to take advantage of your journey. And it's a blessing to be here. And I thank God for you putting this out there because I was showing some of my colleagues and friends and they were saying, I need to come and I want to see the video, but they're gonna look at it. And so I think, and I don't want this to be so heavy that you guys don't think that you can have fun either, right? I have a lot of fun, especially at home now. And so you have to take time to take a break. It's a lot of pressure with school. You're trying to impress your friends. You're trying to discover who you are. Because I talked about that frontal cortex. For men, it takes a little longer, but for women, what age do you think that part of your brain has developed? Oh, y'all smart. Somebody said 25, 26. That's right. For men, it's a little bit longer. But just imagine if you had severe trauma. And all of us have experienced trauma. It delays that. So give your parents, that uncle in the family, that cousin who just can't get right, right? You never know what trauma they've experienced. And so when they get drunk or they get whatever, that's how they deal with life. That's how they manage their behavior. You know, we'll take a blood pressure pill, we'll take something for diabetes, but we will not take that Xanax, that's a real Xanax, when we have some issues. And I tell my young people all the time, there are legal drugs that have been researched that do the same thing that a blunt do. Y'all believe that? They grow marijuana for different ailments, right? And so you have to understand, and I want you guys to understand too, that I've seen a lot of young people who come to us and they were perfectly fine just dealing with some mild depression, but they smoked something and now they're having severe schizophrenia. Grady is full of young men, young women, because especially over in the area, y'all heard of the blood, right? We're right next to the blood. What you put in your body. There's no one out there making tobacco that has real grape juice on it. All those things in our neighborhood, that all those flavor blunt wrappers, they change your body's chemistry. Get me clear? It changes your body chemistry when you smoke. So if you're gonna smoke something, use natural. I'm just being real with you. When you wrap that thing up in that strawberry, in that grape, it's showing low sperm count in men. Ladies, if you notice, we had a young lady, wasn't even a young lady, a child. She was 8 years old. She was on a menstrual cycle. And it's because of the foods and the different things that we're putting into them. And so we have to be careful what we put into our body. Very careful. It's okay to balance things out, but find a way. Sometimes going in the woods, hiking, do something different that you've never done before. Meditate, yoga. Man, yoga is great. Yoga is great. All right. So find things that'll help you get to that place where you can understand when you're in what we call your resilience zone, and then when you're out. As my young people call it, when my swag is on and when I'm just tripping, right?
I want you to be able to take it off in here just to have a little bit of relief and room to be safe and to be seen, because we see you. You're relevant. You matter. Your questions matter. There is no silly, stupid, inappropriate question. And without the mask on, you'll be able to ask a question that will not only heal your peers and your classmates, but will give them permission to be safe and seen as well. Yes?
Yes.
Are we agreeing?
Yes.
Awesome. Who has a question? I'm going to start with one of the questions in the box. But if you have a question, please come down.
Okay, so first, what are you doing in the community to destigmatize medication? And what are some tips that we also as change makers can continue that as well?
God bless you.
Thank you for sharing.
We all want to make sure we create a safe space for people to share like that, right? Because you've helped someone else in here who has bipolar issues, right? You might not know they have it. It's going to grow generations, right? Because that didn't happen when I was growing up, right? We didn't understand that. We really didn't understand the medication. Now, one thing about medication, they are still under research, right? So in the beginning, medications weren't designed for children. So in my career, when I first started, I worked at a place for children and adolescents, 5 years old up to 18 years old. We'll go smoke that blunt. Right? You'll go eat that McDonald's burger, you don't know what's in it. You'll eat them French fries with all them chemicals on it. You know, there's no research on that. But I think education is it. And like you said, just destigmatizing it and people having a conversation like we're having now. Just an open conversation where we're comfortable being ourselves. And when you do that, you draw energy, right? I love your energy.
Energy is transferable, so thank you.
Good evening, how are you doing? Paul Austin, I'm the this year, part of the university class of 2011-2013. And I'm also an educator as well. So one of my questions is pertaining to, we can't really address like the stuff about discussing racism. Like, that's pretty much the foundation of why we have issues like you said earlier about slavery and things of that nature, right? I know currently in Georgia, we don't even have like public health. I think it just has the Buckhead and Spanish in Georgia, and there's a lot of other health issues going on, like, HIV being, number 3 here in the nation. And I think all of that contributes to black mental health. So how do we address those issues externally in order to address the internal mentality?
Well, I got one. Vote. You guys do not understand. If you guys don't get out and vote, and just do what you got to do to, you see what's going on. You guys on social media more than anyone. You see what's happening. And if you don't, and you believe a lot of things that are out there that are fake, that'll tell you why you shouldn't vote, then that's a whole other story I can't defend. But I'm biased on that, right?
Yeah, that is a great question. When you don't have the answer,
see someone that does. One of the things that I really want young people to do that is to not discount whatever it is you're feeling. You know, as I mentioned earlier, you had the COVID issues. There's also a lot of times Black parents are guilty of, and luckily we're changing from this, but especially if you come from a middle class family, and you go and you talk to your parents or your family members about something that's wrong with you. And, you know, if anybody knows what I'm talking about, your mother will say, what you got to be depressed about? You got this house, you got this car, you got all, what you got to be sad about? And you don't want anyone, again, to belittle you. And that can come from our family members, our mother, they may be in a box. And because we're a different generation, we don't understand all the ills that you're facing with. So you get help whenever you don't have the answer. Don't tell yourself, well, this problem is too small and I don't need to address it.
Adding to that, one of the things that we talk about is, you know, how many of you have heard this before? What happens in this house stays in this house. Isn't that something that is passed all the way down to you? So here's the thing about therapy. We have been taught that many of the things that work for other cultures will not work for us. That's systemic, that we've been taught that. But therapy works. Many of us are surprised that it works because we've never been. So when we finally do go, it's like, wow, this really works. One of the reasons it works in a very simplistic way is because what you've been stuffing down, trying to stuff like a beach ball in a pool. Anybody ever try to do that? You try to drown a beach ball, you get tired because it didn't work, right? So we're trying to stuff it down when therapy lets it come up and come out. And the more it's able to come out with someone who can help you figure out what is coming out, over time, it starts to leave you versus stay in you. So don't listen to folks, right? Go and find out for yourself. That is part of you being a genius and an amazing adult. So we want to thank you for being here. So brave. Yes. So brave. We want to thank everybody that has helped, because how many of you know it takes a lot to put something on? Yes. You don't see it, but it takes a lot to coordinate it. So we want to thank everybody that's had a hand in it. The National Alliance for Mentally Ill, Georgia, their chapter is going to be in the lobby. They've got 800 numbers. They've got opportunities for you to get resources. NAMI has a list of resources in the hall. The CAU Student Counseling Center is also here, and they'll be at the NAMI table. Listen, can I share something with you? Spelman Bleed Blue, class of 93. You would not know this, but in '88 there was a plane that was blown up out of the sky. Pan Am Airlines, you probably like, I've never heard of Pan Am Airlines because they no longer exist. My uncle was on that flight. It was the year before I started college. And then in 1989, the freshman year it was fabulous, honey, because I was in the freshman fashion show. If you know, you're instantly popular. Everything is happening. And then I had a death in my family that rocked us to the core. If I had not gone to the counseling center, I promise you, I probably would not be here. I did not have the tools to deal with my pain, and my pain was waiting for me to wake up every day. If you can identify, or if you have a roommate, or a friend, or a line brother, or a line sister, or a guy friend that's in one of your classes, and you're seeing something that's not right, say something, and you do something. Go and get help. These people have dedicated their lives to being here and giving you what's needed. Do not let your mental health drag you when you can get the tools to be on top of your game. Everybody agreed?
Yes.